Hello, I'm ELIO GARCIA.
And I'm Linda Antonsson.
And together we are the founders of Westeros.org.
As well as the co-authors, together with George R. R. Martin, of The World of Ice and Fire and The Rise of the Dragon.
And we are very pleased to be speaking to the fans at Universo 42.
Quem é o seu Khal? Me diz, quem é o seu Khal? E quem é o primeiro brasileiro a entrevistar o Hélio e a Linda? Esse que vos fala. Fala aí, pessoal. Aliás, vamos começar isso direito. Fala aí, Calaçar, beleza? Aqui é o Khal, muito empolgado e muito feliz porque eu consegui entrevistar nada mais nada menos do que ELIO GARCIA e Linda Antonsson, que são só os coautores deste livro aqui, O Mundo de Gelo e Fogo, ao lado de George Martin, obviamente, e do mais novo lançamento aí, The Rise of the Dragon. Eu não tô acreditando até agora que primeiro eu consegui entrevista, que segundo, sim, eu sou o primeiro brasileiro a entrevistá-los, a fazer uma entrevista online com esses caras, e talvez eu acho presencial também, certo? E eu falei com eles cerca de 2 horas, na verdade foram mais de 2 horas, mas eu pude gravar 1h42, sério. Eu fiquei mais de 2 horas batendo papo com eles. Então, como a conversa é muito longa, eu decidi quebrar essa conversa em vários vídeos. E este primeiro vídeo aqui, a gente vai falar sobre o começo deles, criando o Westeros.org e como foi quando eles entraram em contato com o George Martin pela primeira vez, né, que eles convenceram o nosso querido velhinho escritor de Crônicas de Gelo e Fogo a autorizar que eles pudessem criar um jogo e outras coisinhas mais. Eu vou ficando por aqui então, porque eu não quero prolongar esse papo, espero que vocês se divirtam muito. Cara, não esquece de deixar seu like aqui, porque é muito importante, sabe? Espalhar esse vídeo para as pessoas que gostam de Crônicas de Gelo e Fogo, de Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. Esses caras estão muito envolvidos. Vocês vão ver nos vídeos aí que eles contam umas coisas super legais, inclusive das séries, porque eles estão envolvidos em praticamente tudo que o Martin está envolvido também, tá? Então, deixa o seu like, se inscreve no canal, deixa o comentário, é muito importante, e espalha o vídeo, beleza? Em breve tá saindo o episódio 2. Devem sair cerca de 4 a 6 vídeos dessa entrevista. E eu conto com vocês para que essa entrevista seja um sucesso. E quem sabe eu não chegue lá no nosso querido George Martin, pensou? Primeiro brasileiro a falar com o George Martin, será que é isso? Ele já foi entrevistado por alguém aqui? Não sei. Bom, enfim, é isso. Curta a entrevista. Valeu! So, guys, I like to thank you very, very much for spending your time to talk to me. When I reached out to you, I was thinking, oh no, Linda and Ellie will not answer me. But when you answered, I was very, very happy.
Oh, we're very happy to talk to you. I mean, we've never, well, I won't say we've never spoken to a Brazilian fan, but we've never spoken, we've never done an interview or a live stream with any Brazilian.
No, it's the first time?
This is absolutely the first time that anyone from Brazil has asked to. The closest is when The World of Ice and Fire came out, that the publisher in Brazil invited us to come to Brazil.
Yeah.
But it was too long a trip for us, and we just couldn't do it. So unfortunately, we missed the opportunity. But
I hope you can came to Brazil sometime.
I'm sure. I know we'd love to see it. We love.
I don't fly very well.
Yeah, it's a flying problem. It's a very long trip.
Elio is a bit better at it. He's been to the US obviously a couple of times back since he came here, but I've only been the once.
Once.
Just the once. It's a tough trip.
And I mean, after that, she hasn't taken a trip that long again. It's a very tough one.
After 7-8 hours, I start looking for the exit. I need to go and take a walk or something.
I mean, the ideal is we could break it up into short legs, but that's very expensive to kind of do a 6 flight, stay overnight someplace, do another 6-hour flight, stay a couple days, take another flight. It's long, but it was lovely. From everything I've ever seen online, and been enjoying. I just actually, when I was in Spain, I had some picanha, The meats with the Brazilian cut. I love it. It's delicious.
Both started at a song and ice and fire world. I know that a little bit. I think it's in the 90s. You started Westeros.org. Is it?
That's
correct.
And can you talk a little about it?
Yeah, sure. Basically, when we met online. I'm from Sweden and he's from the US, so we met playing a role-playing game online, which was based on Tolkien's books. And so when I picked up the first book, A Game of Thrones, and then introduced ELIO to it, we had been playing a couple of other games based on popular books like The Wheel of Time, Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. And at some point, we kind of started talking about making our own game, and we were interested in having a new fantasy setting that we could explore. And so our first thoughts when we started doing any sort of web resources for Westeros was that we were planning to ask George for permission to have a game, and those were going to be basically resources for our players. So the heraldry, the concordance, the So Spake Martin, all kind of started with the idea of collecting information for potential future players and also for the fandom that was starting to grow up around a couple of message boards. So it started on some free websites. The concordance started as just a Word document that ELIO shared out to a couple of other fans, I think. And also, once we got in touch with George and his publisher, shared it out with them, and they thought it was, this is a cool reference to have. So that kind of slowly got us started. And I mean, the contact from George came from us asking him if we could get his permission to do our game. So everything grew out of that idea that it'd be fun to do our own little role-playing game in Westeros. He did give us permission. And it took us a long while to get the game off the ground. We started working on it in 99. I think he gave us permission in 98, and we started working around 98, 99. Did not
about
open.
Clash of in English is
Clash of Kings. It was around the
Clash of
time.
Kings,
Yes, it was around the time of Clash of Kings that we had in touch with him. And then we started the game in 2006. I think we opened for players. So it took
a long time.
Took a while, and we're still running it. It's it's a very small hobby these days. Text-based games, role-playing games online.
Play it. Play by email. I play a lot of play by email based on Babylon 5 and some series. I love
they kind of came up around, I guess, the time of play by mails. I mean, you had Muds and Mushes and play by mail and forum role plays and all these things. So the number of people who still go to Mushes is fairly limited, but we do have some players still. More showed up now with House of the Dragon. So because we have the game set in, we started when Daeron the Young Dragon was king and had just conquered Dorne. But so we're running it in like real time, 1-to-1 time ratio. So now Aegon IV is king.
Yeah, I'm just imagining as a fan that I am of the work of Martin, and I know you are both too. And right now here talking to you, that a fan with a fan, I can imagine that how it is, how in the beginning that I only wanted the okay for do this, and now you're both are working and helping to write the books. This is amazing. I think it's something that I can barely believe.
Yeah, I mean, that is something. I mean, we can barely believe it ourselves. We're very. I mean, you can't set out with the idea that I'm going to become the fan that this creator relies on. It was just like we were just the right place at the right time, We got involved in the another aspect of things is the forum, the Song of Ice and Fire forum. That started with like the very first fan forum online for George's books was like just around when Clash of Kings came out, was called Dragonstone in Australia. But that one, and back then the internet was very bad. Like it did not work very well, and then Australia had like it was a very poor connection to the rest of the world, and that guy was running it off his own computer basically. So one day it died and it never came back. So then another forum got created by another person called Revanchi, and she selected, because I was active, she asked me to be a moderator. And so when she then, as it grew, she ended up going to med school and sort of handed the board to me. And she had her own website as well for the books, but she gave to another person. And so our forum is basically like a descendant all the way back to that first forum. And that's been a big part of it as well, of having this group of fans growing there. Now, of course, there's all sorts of there are Discords, there's Twitter, there's social media, there's Reddit, there's Tumblr, there's all these other ways for people to talk about the books with one another. But back then there were very few. There was like the forum, and there was like an email list on Yahoo groups, I think. And just our involvement led to us just kind of, at a certain point, we started to work on the heraldry of George, where, the coats of arms of the family. So one of the things we did is we do the depictions of the shields, and George had not seen anyone do that, and he was very intrigued. And so he sent us his notes of all these heraldries that he had made for other families, and families that hadn't even appeared yet. House Rain. We knew about, we knew the whole, the coat of arms of the Rains from his notes. We knew about the coats of arms of House Tarbeck of the we knew about the coat of Heron, the Black from George's notes.
Yeah.
And
I think there's still coats of arms that he made that he hasn't used.
I think that's true.
And houses that he hasn't used, because I think he said he used to sit and make up new houses and their heraldry when he was watching football.
Yeah. So and then somewhere along the way we were working with that, and we meant we'd point out things or discuss things, and he'd realize we knew the books really well.
Yeah.
I think the one that really got him was in The Hedge Knight, the story about Duncan Egg.
I love Duncan Egg.
We love it.
Yeah.
We love it. He makes a mistake. He makes a kind of timeline mistake in that he gives the age of Baylor Breakspear at his death. And from that, I looked backwards and said, wait, this doesn't fit the timeline. Because we know the age of David the Young Dragon when he dies, right? And we know at that time Viserys II was actually his younger brother, not his uncle.
Yeah.
So we knew that it didn't work. Basically, for Baylor Breakspear to be 39, there had to be a bunch of kings who were having kids when they were 10 or 11, and it didn't make sense. So George changed it. Viserys went from being the youngest brother of David the Young Dragon to being his uncle, being the brother of Aegon the third. So in some little way, that change actually has a big impact on the Dance of the Dragons, right? We even see little Viserys and his little brother on House of the Dragons. Yeah. So it's kind of weird to think, a mistake George made was corrected because of and is now playing a part in the story that he created, that everyone around the world is seeing because we pointed out that he messed up.
If it was me, I was talking to my friends. I corrected George Martin. Sorry. Oh my God.
I mean, another one, in a similar way, it's kind of funny. So initially, Rhaenyra was 1 year older than Aegon, not 10 years older.
Yeah.
And then in 2006, he was describing the character of Rhaenyra to an artist, a Russian artist known as Amok, or Amaka, and he was describing all the Targaryens because Amaka was going to do art based on all the Targaryens. He described Rhaenyra, and there he said, oh, they were 10 years apart. And I pointed out to him, George, I know that was really interesting, all these notes you gave to Amok, but this is about 10 years older. That's new, because in the book, you have it that she's 1 year older. And he said, oh, darn, I knew she was older, but as I couldn't find where I had said it or what the age was, so I decided, it made more sense for her to be 10 years older. And so in a sense, this version of the story we have now is all because he made a little mistake and has stuck. Basically, he said, okay, I'm going to stick to this version instead of the early version. And I think it is stronger to have that big age difference between them. So it is kind of funny. It's kind of interesting. George sometimes forgets something and it comes out there, and then he has to kind of work backwards, like, how do I fix it? Or he'll just kind of say, forget it. No one's going to notice, Elio. You're the only one who will notice.
And then Elio tells him, no, George, that's not true. There's lots of obsessive people on the internet.
Yes, a lot of.
And then, of course, sometimes we make a mistake that has big ramifications. Because when we did the early heraldry, a friend of ours, Richard Boyer, helped draw some of the sigils. And he, among the ones he drew, was the Targaryen dragon. And he drew it with 4 legs, because I don't think George had said specifically at the time whether it was supposed to be 2 or 4 legs. I don't remember what the original in the books has.
The original book has 4.
Yeah, the original in the book also has 4. So George really liked our Targaryen dragon. George had our Targaryen dragon shield, a small version, on his website.
Yeah.
And then later on, he pointed out to you when you were visiting him.
Yeah, in 2004, I visited him as NFA.
Oh my God!
And what was the piece that he pointed out that was wrong?
Well, so his wife Paris was making shirts based on Ice and Fire Seals, and there was a Targaryen shirt.
Yeah.
And he pointed out that one.
Oh, he liked it, but the dragon has 4 legs.
And I said, "Well, what do you mean, George? Well, dragons only have 2 legs. I mean, they've got 2 wings and they got 2 legs. There's no animal that has 6 legs. It's not an insect, right?"
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, George, ours has 2 legs. Oh,
4 legs.
4 legs. Ours has 4 legs." Does it? I didn't notice. The front legs are very small, and he hadn't noticed.
No, so he basically had that symbol with the Targaryens with 4 legs up on his website all this time, and that is probably where 4 legs started sneaking in or snuck in some places on Game of Thrones.
Well, not just from there, because I mean, they probably looked at our website, which I think may have still had the 4-leg dragon.
Yes, so we were kind of responsible for the whole. Is it 4 legs?
It's 2 legs. It's very interesting. I think that, like I said, when you're a fan and you say something for the author and he listens, it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.